Hi everyone, hope you are well. So this is the final lesson in the drama remote learning for this term, and this is continuing on drama conventions. This is the second part of the techniques and conventions because there are quite a few. Obviously we covered 4 in the first lesson and we're going to cover 4 now. So these are ones that are slightly different. Quite a lot of these will be used in rehearsal and creating the performance and creating character rather than specifically in the performance, but they are very, very helpful and something that are really, really useful to use, and would love to see if you were to do GCSE, you using these in your rehearsals. So just to recap, the drama convention is used regularly in performance, so remember that, and it's used to show significance, so trying to add meaning to the audience. Again, why have them in performances? Drama conventions are really effective to engage the audience and keep the performance interesting. Now, these ones, like I say, we wouldn't use them necessarily in performance, but they really help to keep your characters interested and keep your storyline interesting, and that will really help to engage the audience. So, the ones we're going to look at today, there are 4 types we're looking at today, and these are thought tracking, hot seating, improvisation, and forum theatre. Some of these terms you may have used before. I'm pretty sure that in English you use some hot seating to get to know characters, so hopefully that one won't be a new one to you. But it would be really interesting to see the differences, obviously from your point of view, of how you use them in English to how you use them in drama, and see if there's any similarities there. So, first of all, thought tracking. Obviously, these are the freezes that we used before, we saw on our freeze frame slide from the previous lesson. So, going back to these images, we don't know anything about these people. We see these images, they are strangers, we don't know anything about them, the story that they're talking about. Now, this could be, when you go and see a performance, the first image you see. Now, you form opinions from how they are stood and their facial expressions and their body language. But thought tracking allows you to hear what the characters are thinking in that frozen moment. So I could go and tap in the middle picture, the gentleman in the middle with the blue t-shirt. I could go and tap him on the shoulder and he would speak what he is thinking. So he might say, "Oh goodness, I've got to get away, I've got to get away." The guy on the right of him might be saying, "Oh, thank God we're here." So all of a sudden you've got that contrast between what they're thinking, and it might get the audience engaged, thinking, "Well, why is he thankful he's there? What's going on?" Also, that would be useful in a performance. If you've done some improvisation, that we'll come on to in a second, it allows you to develop more about your character. So in an English sense, you would call this subtext. So you would have a look and you would look at what the character's really thinking under those lines of dialogue. And this is exactly what we're doing here with thought tracking. It gives you real greater insight into what they are thinking, and what they may feel on the inside may differ to the image that you see on the outside. So that's thought tracking. We use that in performance, so I might use it in a lesson where the whole class, you're all in an image, and I might go around and tap people on the shoulder. And that is thought tracking, and I'll ask you to say what you were thinking at that moment about the character and about the situation. So it means you are thinking on your feet, you're thinking in rehearsal, you're really engaged with that activity. So that's thought tracking. Okay, little bit of a task for you now. So the storyboard you drew last lesson, I asked you to keep hold of that, hopefully you have. Pick one character out of each of those 3 scenes to focus on. Underneath, can you pretend you are that character, and can you write down the thoughts of that character in that specific moment? All right, pause this a second just to have a go at that. Okay, hopefully you've had a go at that now. It can be really difficult to think of 3 different thoughts to have, and they might be quite similar what you've written down, but it is important to challenge yourself and think, what would I be thinking if I was that character? And what you say and what you think can be very different. I mean, we have that in everyday life all the time. What we say to people and what we think may be slightly different. Sometimes it could be to protect them, to help them out, to make them feel better about situations. So have a real think about what you've written down and how that contrasts the image that you've written, or it might confirm what you've written. So what the character might be thinking might be exactly what we see. So you can have 2 different ways of doing that there. Okay, hot seating is the next one we're looking at. Hot seating is a technique that allows you to ask questions pretending that you are in character. So like I say, in English you use this sometimes to find out more about specific characters. This allows you to answer questions as your character and start to give answers as they would. So it really allows you to really sit and think about, what would my character think? What would my character feel at this moment? This is a form of naturalism. So you're really getting into character. This is really useful. It allows you to think about different things that you wouldn't have thought of, because you don't know what you're going to be asked. You have to answer them as naturally as you would answer for yourself. So if someone said, what's your favourite flavour of ice cream? You'd know it straight away. Well, hopefully you would. And you'd need to know that for your character as well. Obviously, you're making it up absolutely on the spot, but it needs to be that natural when you're hot seating a character. I would ask you today at some point to try and generate a character and try and hot seat with a member of your family. So if you've got an older brother or sister, a young brother or sister, pick a character that you know of maybe, and sit and try and answer questions as them, and see if you can make it really natural. Okay, the next one, improvisation. So improvisation, you'll hear me use the term improv. Improv is improvisation. So improv has two forms: spontaneous improv and rehearsed improv. So spontaneous is very, very reactive, always just going with whatever's happening on stage and making it work. So we do a lot of games, warm games at GCSE and in Year 9 in particular, that are spontaneous improv games. So just getting you really thinking on your feet. The biggest part of drama and acting is reacting. You have to react to whatever's happening on stage at every moment, be it small reactions, big reactions, but you have to go with what's happening. If you stand on stage and you have closed answers all the time, so someone says, how are you? And you say, fine, then that's not helpful. If you say, oh, I'm fine, I've had a really bad day, it gives them an in to say, oh, what, how, why, what's happened? And then it starts to create a scene. So in drama, you really have to get those moments where you can allow the other person to talk back to you. And that's something as well that can translate into everyday life. So if you find yourself having conversations where you think, oh God, that stopped, can you think of more open questions to ask people? And that's a really good skill to have in improvisation in drama. So rehearsed improvisation gives you a little bit more time. So to develop the ideas and the pieces that you will work on, devised completely from your imagination, so no prior scripts or characters, really thinking. And that's one that we use quite a lot in drama. So the performances that you create yourself are rehearsed improvisation. Sometimes when you're on stage, you might have to improv over any mistakes or moments that haven't gone quite right, but it is rehearsed improvisation in the whole. So that is a drama convention. Okay, the last one we're looking at today is forum theatre. Now, forum theatre is something we usually cover in GCSE, but I thought it was really important, really something that you could really have a look at now. This relates to engagement of the audience, so the spectators. And the audience influence and engage with the performance. So if you influence something, you change it. So the audience become spect-actors. So you have spectators and actors, like spectators at a football game. You might at a football game shout out something, and that might influence the players on the pitch and how something is going. In drama, in forum theatre, the audience has the power to stop the performance and change what is happening. So if you are watching this piece of forum theatre, it might be on a social issue, and what's happening might not sit quite right with you, and you might go, that's not right, I wouldn't do it like that. Forum theatre gives you the opportunity to say, stop, right, can I come in there because I think I've got something else to say and I think I could change the situation and either diffuse it and make it better and help them out. And then you would go onto stage, or you would tell the actor on stage, actually, can you try doing this? And they would change their tact. Now this is used a lot in what we call drama therapy. Now a lot of you might not have heard of what drama therapy is, but drama therapy is a job. You can go out and get a job as a drama therapist, you can go to drama therapy. And this basically gives you situations in front of you that maybe have happened in your own life and helps you realise how you could have done things differently, how it could have gone a different way. So identifies area of conflict in your life and other people's lives and possible solutions. So forum theatre, it's a very tricky skill, but it's very, very helpful to a lot of people, and it's very interesting for an audience to watch. So they're drama conventions. Thank you so much for listening and have a lovely day. Bye.